Hello and welcome back to this episode of Questionable Calls. After quite a long break, I am David, and Rishi is no longer with us. I mean, he's still alive, but he isn't doing the podcast anymore, at least for now. So it'll just be me for the time being until I find more consistent co-hosts. Having said that, today we have very special guest Chan from Racquet Racket Club joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I wanted to do this interview with you because Racquet Racket Club is something that has been going on for a while here in Seattle, and definitely a very positive force in the tennis community here. So, wanted to talk to you and hear about the story as well as how people can get involved if they're interested. But first of all, as is tradition with this podcast, we need to talk about any tennis we've played over the past 7 days. So, can you start us off, please?
Yeah, definitely. Good thing we're shooting this after the monthly event because now I can speak to it. I recently played at our monthly racket event. So just when was it? Sunday? So a couple days ago. So we played at Lower Woodland. I played a good amount. I would say like a good 2 hours. And just for your audience, obviously it's not full matches or anything, but there was a court open and I did play like a full set. So last Sunday, Lower Woodland, it was a beautiful day. So that was the last time I played.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like whenever I see you on court, there's always a lot of screaming.
Yeah, yeah, hence the name, right? It's the
Right.
goal. That's kind
Causing
of
a
the
racket.
namesake. We're just, that's the namesake. We're just trying to be as loud and as fun as, we see the people on those pickleball courts. So,
Right. Yeah, I was there too, and I joined in some of the group games.
yeah,
Always a fun time.
yeah.
And I played some Flex League matches. So USTA Flex League singles. Um, well, I mean, the frequency is roughly once a month, but you can self-schedule with your opponents. Won both of those matches. First one was 6-2, 6-0. Second one was 6-2, 6-4. And yeah, so different people and good matches. The second one, I was down 2-4 and then won 4 games in a row. So that was nice. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, it was getting hot and I didn't want to play for too long. Didn't want to get into a tie break. So I just wanted to hurry it up. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, tennis is such a up and down kind of game.
I always say that it's like something you just continually get better. And some days when you're playing, you're like, wow, I'm really good. And some days you're like, I need to go back and take like more lessons or like a new racket, or you're always evaluating like how you can get better. But it's funny that you say that you're playing US TA Flex League, which I don't think they promote enough because I think it's such a great flexible semi-social, non like super serious way to get into playing more competitively. Because I just learned about it like a couple of months ago when they were doing more promoting. But the USTA, I feel like a lot more beginners and like people who are interested in competing would like really benefit from knowing more about it because it's not as aggressive as like other USTA league styles. So I love that you're doing that because you can set your own schedule, right?
Yes, and it still counts as a league. Last or a couple of years ago, they had well, the only option was to play it, and then you could play at your level or
Mm,
half a point up, but it wouldn't count towards your year-end rating.
got it.
And now you have the option to play in the league in which it does count towards your year-end rating, but you can only play
Oh,
at your level, which
yeah.
makes sense. And because it's separated out by level, it kind of helps anyone because no matter what level you are, it doesn't matter if you're 2-0, 2-5, 3-5, 4-0,
Yeah.
um, you'll be playing people who are at their same level. So it's not like you're going to get destroyed necessarily. It's
Yeah.
going to be pretty even.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities within the USTA kind of league system that people like don't know that are just starting, that exist and just gives you so many opportunities to kind of like play.
Yeah. So that is going pretty well. Although one year it still counted towards your rating. I was undefeated and I didn't get bumped up. So there's all these little things that go into your rating, and maybe I just didn't play enough matches or like didn't play
Yeah.
against people who were better than me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
the best way still is to play the spring league and then play up. That way you can play better opponents. If you win enough games
Mm.
against them, then you can possibly get bumped up.
Okay. Yeah, I was a free agent earlier this season, so I just signed up to be a free agent, like if somebody needed to fill a spot for some reason. And I got in on a team on the east side and because they moved from 2.5 to 3. And so I took their spot. And that was like my first experience of playing in a USTA league. And um I want to do it again, but like it's a lot of work. Like it's really fun, but people are really good. Even at 2.5 level, where you think like, oh, okay, it's 2.5, it's fine, it's just starting, but like people are really, really good and very serious. So I feel like I got my butt kicked by a lot of like older
Yeah, that
people.
happens. Playing competitively is it's a different feeling than just playing with friends for
Yeah,
fun. Even
yeah,
though it's kind of the same level, it's the same game, but
yeah.
there's this different mentality, and you have to learn to harness that and use it to your advantage. Because a lot of people, especially if it's their first season, they
Mm-hmm.
just kind of get intimidated by that, and that has a negative
Yeah,
impact on their performance.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, keep doing it, and hopefully you'll keep getting better. So cool. Well, you Sunday was the only time you played, or did you play any more this past week?
I played at the Bellevue Club with a girlfriend of mine, but it was really just it wasn't competitive or anything. We were just trying to get out there and get some reps in, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and you mentioned 2.5. So that your official rating? And how
Yeah.
did you, I guess, how long ago did you start playing tennis, and what's your history been with tennis?
Very short. So my thoughts are the USTA basically ask you like two questions and then they assigned you. I think they automatically assign people to 2.5. Like they're like, have you picked up a racket in the last 12 months? And then you're like, yes, I have, because I took my first lesson last January. So that's like a year and a half. And they're like, okay, you're a 2.5. So that's like my official rating. That's how I go into like leagues. That's how I get categorized for everything. But my tennis history, probably I became a fan before I started playing. I don't know if that's like a common journey, but I can tell you exactly like when I became a fan of tennis and just like started to follow it really passionately. So it was like 2019. ESPN was like, oh, this girl, she's 15, Coco Golf, like she's coming up. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to like follow her along because sometimes when you're starting to like become a fan of a new sport, it's hard to follow because there's so many people that are already existing or like you feel behind. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is a new kid on the block. I can kind of like follow her along. 2019 US Open, she played Naomi Osaka, also another, big name now, but at the time, like they were playing each other and I was just hooked. And then at the end, I don't know if you remember, but Coco was like crying because she lost. I forget which round it was, but ESPN was showing it everywhere. And I was like, had just such respect for the sport because Naomi Osaka went over there and was like, telling her it's going to be fine. Like, do you want to make a speech? And just like very comforting. And I just had seen that throughout all the matches and really came to respect the sport. And I've just naturally just always been a sports fan. So like I was like, oh great, this is a new sport I can take on. And then I just like that moment. And then I think what Breakpoint came out first and then Challengers. So like it started to really fold into the cultural conversation, which I'm the person in the friend group that's like, oh, what's up? Like, this is what's new. Like, I just have like I love having a pulse on what's happening. So I really just became really passionate about it. Everything from like the style, the kits, like all the outfits, all the events, all the like decorum, all like there's just so much that encompasses being a tennis fan. I became obsessed with it. I like My friends were sick and tired of hearing about it. So I like started to create a little bit of content around it. That's kind of where Racket Racket came from. I started a TikTok where I just talked people's ears off about style and fashion and kind of like the drama around tennis. And then I started a Substack where I kind of wrote deep dives into kind of tennis and kind of like the luxury lifestyle, the style, the events, kind of like all of those things. And that was really fun. And then eventually someone was like, "Have you ever played tennis?" And I was like, "No. I mean, it looks it looks like easy, right? Because you watch it for so long and you're like, I could do that. That's fine. I'm semi athletic." It is the most mentally grueling sport ever. Like, you really have to like, that ball comes and you miss it, you like have to get over it. Like, it's insane. So it's probably like the hardest sport that I think I've had to learn, but also so much fun. And what I discovered about it, and I think a lot of people maybe don't think about it, is that like once you start tennis, you gain this like huge community of people who play it. And that's kind of what I love because you can find anyone that plays tennis, you can join a USDA league, like you can go to these socials, like the community is so built out to support the game that I just continually I have the option to like play it socially or play it seriously. And it's just been a really cool experience for me as like a first time like tennis fan and tennis player, and the community has been like, come on in, like this is what we do. So I think that's been a really, really cool experience. So like my whole tennis history and journey has been really good. I mean, it's a hard sport. It's that there's a high barrier to entry to the sport. But I think people are more, I don't know, people are more interested in it just because of how it's evolved in the culture conversation. So it's been a really fun journey.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool to hear because I'm someone who has been in the tennis world for over 20 years and almost 25 years actually, but um, always like hearing the story of people who have recently gotten into it is really cool because people enter into it at different times and they still find these common things to like about it. And definitely the two worlds of watching tennis versus playing tennis, I believe that there are a lot more people that watch than play, but when you do
Mm-hmm.
both, then each one takes on a deeper meaning. And
100%.
yeah,
100%.
so
Like,
yeah,
yeah, I think it's like now I watch it with such a different eye, not like a very technical eye, but I have such an appreciation when they're out there for 5 hours. Like, it's insane. I truly believe it is one of the toughest sports to play because they get zero breaks. The mental endurance that you have to be able to even just keep going for that long. Yeah, you just kind of, once you play it, even just a couple lessons, even just learning a couple lessons, you just have a whole new respect when you're watching it.
yeah. Have you ever been to a pro tournament?
No, it's been on my list this whole year, but the calendar just hasn't worked out. But I did plan a family trip around the WTA finals because they moved it this year to Indian Wells. And it's close by because we're here. So I'm gonna try to go to that, and that would be my first one. But I have a long list of like bucket lists, places that I would want to go to. I know you've been to Wimbledon. So I'm curious to like hear where you would rank all of the professional places. And you went to Indian Wells earlier this year, right?
Yeah, Indian Wells is a really great venue. Obviously, when I was there, it was a bigger tournament,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot more going on, and um, so just being there was really cool. Like their ticketing system was got a bit weird this year with like where you could sit and where you couldn't have access to, but
Yeah.
overall, like because it was the first round for us, and we did cover this in an episode, we got to see a lot. So if you go there for
Yeah.
WTA finals, it's going to be a different format, but
Yeah.
um, it's still going to be a really great place to watch tennis. And obviously, like having all the top players in one place is going to be really cool. you know you're going to get quality matches. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been to Wimbledon, U.S. Open a few times, Roland Garros, and um, the Hong Kong WTA Open.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
all very different. Yeah, we did episodes on each one of them, and Wimbledon is like its own beast with like the queuing
Yeah,
and the
the cute.
camping.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
whole monster. Yeah, I think that's the thing too. Like as I started to watch Grand Slams, like my journey of like being a fan too was like, oh, I'm watching the U.S. Open, great. And then I'm like, oh, I'm watching the US Open. Now I'm watching Wimbledon. Oh my gosh, being a tennis fan is all year round. So for 2 weeks at a time, I'm literally locked in. Like, like watching the draws to like first week and second week. So I'm like, I have no time to be any other sort of fan because it's so fun to be a tennis fan because you're watching it, except for Australian Open, because it's like the time difference is really hard. So I feel like I'm watching clips more than watching matches. Uh, but I would love to go see like a live like competitive. I might go to WSO, which is the Washington State Open here in Seattle,
yeah.
but
For
I
some
don't think
reason,
it's like the same, you
yeah,
know.
everyone's going this year for some reason, even if they don't know anyone. And I'm like, what is it about this year? Like last year, I played, and then I had a free like +1 voucher for the dinner that they provide too,
Mm,
and like no one wanted to come with me for that. But uh,
maybe they're building it out. I know that Live Ball is doing some promotion for it because I know that they're doing, I think, an event and something else. So maybe it's a combination.
yeah, need to talk to those guys because I did meet them at the event they did with who are those guys? Winners only. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, from
yeah,
the Tango Tennis.
yeah. They all
Yeah.
came together and did that West Coast
Okay.
tour, and actually they put out a video recapping their experience, and like you can see
Are you
me
in it?
briefly in the group shot. Yeah, it's Lower Woodland.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, I knew
so
that they went to Seward and Lower Woodland. I was going to try to make one of those events, but I couldn't.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, going to a pro level tournament, even though they're playing with the same balls, the same court, and everything, like it feels like a different game altogether.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
yeah, the way
Yeah.
they hit the ball, the way they move, um, the weather conditions,
Yeah.
it it's just not the same as what you would see here, even at WSO. Even though
Yeah.
those players are really good too, but um, you look at them and then you think about the way you play anyone, and it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I
you can
know.
look.
And yeah, I think that's the most interesting thing about tennis as a sport because you can't, I mean, maybe football or soccer, but like you're on different surfaces all the time. Those surfaces, even if you're on clay, the weather, like Monaco this year was like a little crazier because of all the wind. It could look different every time you play it. But like if you're a basketball player, like that court's going to be always the same. That ball's going to dribble the same, you know. So it just keeps reminding me and like reminding me like my respect for the sport is so insanely deep because of all those like diversity and like the way and the conditions that they play, you know. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, everyone's trying to optimize their game to compensate for all these different variables.
Yeah.
Like there's been a lot of complaints about the balls, and then surfaces getting slower and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still fun to watch. But going back to Racket Racket, what gave you the idea to start it? Because you mentioned
Mhm.
like deciding to play for yourself, but then what about taking it further and starting this community? Like what was the
Yeah.
impetus behind that, and what is the purpose behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So selfishly, I didn't really have any tennis friends. And like my personality, I'm like the glue of like every group. Like I kind of bring everybody together and I was like I had like a decent I mean like a decent following on TikTok and most of them were interested in like the tennis stuff. So I was like, "Hey, maybe I can just get a group of people together and just play and just have fun." And really reflect, you know, like represent kind of the racket idea, which is just have more fun with tennis and like introduce people to the sport and have it be really beginner friendly. So and like I had read about the, I don't know, run clubs and how people would just meet and they just like run together. And I was like, why isn't there something like that? Like in tennis, just so it's easy for you to kind of meet new friends and like play. And so I kind of came up with the concept, and a couple of creators on TikTok had already started doing it in their neighborhoods. Like there was a woman there is a woman, she did it in Scottsdale, and I was like, oh, seems like it's a thing. So there's, so I just put out a TikTok and I was like, hey, we're going to be at Seward at this time. We're going to play tennis. Like, come play with us. And like 10 people came out. And I was like shocked because I was like, oh, maybe 4 people will come out. That would be good. And it was really fun. And I think the energy that people, like the response just from even that small 1 court event with 10 people, the reaction was so positive that I was like, could we do this next month? Could we do it? Is there more people who want to play? Are there more people who want to like connect with other tennis friends? And that's really kind of the simple idea of bringing people together that play tennis that was in the city. And I wanted to also book it at places that were cool, like not cool, but like visually appealing and like a fun place so people could also see that side of tennis. Like, oh my gosh, Seward, if you've never been there, is like right on the water. It's gorgeous. We did Volunteer Park, which is like, it's shaded with all the evergreen trees and it's just like a beautiful place. As we grew, we needed more courts, which Lower Woodland has the courts that we needed. So our whole idea really just started just bringing people together in tennis and allowing people to make friends and just having fun on the court, because we really wanted to bring down kind of the idea that tennis was boring, tennis isn't social, that it's a high barrier to entry. And then we have a whole team that volunteers kind of in the organization. One of them is our coach, Glenn, who has loved tennis for a long time. He played it in high school and I think he played it in college, and he's also a coach, but he offered to do beginners clinics and really bring more people into the sport. And so we started to do that earlier this year, and it's been such a success. And we have brought probably like every month, probably about 30 to 35 people into that clinic. So we're the only organization that offers everything for free. We want people to learn the sport. We want people to come and connect with other people and just like make a lot of noise and have fun. Like, really take it easy and don't think of tennis as this, like, I don't know, high snobbery sport or anything, but it's a great way to get your bodies out there, have fun, and then you can improve from there. We give you opportunities to kind of like continue learning the sport and like enjoying the sport if you want to get more serious, because a lot of us play leagues, a lot of us, know all this information. So really the idea is really simple. It's just like bringing people together and having fun and playing tennis, which is the healthiest sport in the world. So
Yes, according to the USTA.
according to the USTA. But listen, I will say, if you've ever played like a full match or a full set, even like the cardio and like like the cardio that is required to be able to do that, I definitely could say it's probably the healthiest sport in the world, because it requires so much of your body movement, endurance, and cardio like all together. So I don't know, maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, David, but I truly like physically think it's real.
I wouldn't disagree with that. It, the run club thing is interesting because it's such a simple concept, right? Bringing people
Mm-hmm.
together around the shared interest of a sport.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a team sport, then it kind of comes with the territory, right? You need multiple people to be there in order to play the sport. Um, One criticism of tennis is that it is pretty isolated. However, in order to play tennis, you need to have someone else, at least one other person, right? And so that
Right.
means everyone else is also looking for someone to play with. So in that sense, you're looking for the same thing, and that should make it easier to come together as long as both people are organized enough to actually coordinate something and show up. I've
Right.
heard a lot of stories of people like flaking or whatever, and that is like its own thing. But if assuming all goes well, it should be, in theory, pretty easy to meet new friends through tennis. And um, for a while, for me, that was just through group chats and like local group chats. I'd meet my friends that way and then kind of break off. And if there were people that I like playing with more, then we would play more often. But like
Mm-hmm.
the larger group chats would always be there if you wanted to make a more broad call. So that's how it's worked in the past. And now with like pickleball being a major thing in the area, we're familiar with the concept of open play, right? Pickleball is all about
Mm-hmm.
open play just
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that pickleball is played, much shorter games, and you can rotate people in and out. So tennis doesn't exactly translate to that, but I think what Racket Racket is doing is kind of leaning in that direction a little bit, even though it's not necessarily like really formal games or anything, but it just allows people to kind of cycle through and get as much playtime as possible, which is really cool.
Yeah, and that's our idea. And the reason why we do that too is just because the people that come, like we usually get about 20 to 30 people and drop in where we have to figure out how are we going to do that within 2 courts or four if we could grab the additional 2 courts that are next to us. So there is that kind of like how do we give everybody a great experience that is anchored in kind of like our core mission, which is to have fun and bring people together but also give them enough playtime. Because if we did it traditional tennis like format, not a lot of people would get the opportunity to play. So, and I know there's other organizations in Seattle that kind of do that more tournament style traditional format and they're very tight on it. That's just kind of like not how we want to approach it because our goal at the end of the day is to bring more people into the sport as much as possible. And we've been able to kind of manage it kind of at the numbers. But as we grow, we'll have to start kind of adjusting how we want to do kind of some of those open play things. So yeah, I mean, I know you've come out and you're usually in like the intermediate courts. So the way that we separate our courts are generally like advanced beginner, intermediate, and then like advanced. You're usually in one of those courts, like hitting those fireballs.
Yeah, I always enjoy meeting new people and reconnecting with people I've seen before, like
Yeah.
Brendan and Ayushi and some of those other folks. Um, I recently, uh, so back in my hometown, San Francisco, there is a group called Mission Athletic Club,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like the local tennis social group. Um,
Yeah.
and they have a more involved process of like getting in. Like there's a wait list and everything because they're pretty organized. I think they have
Yeah.
tournaments and different events. I've never been to an event, obviously, because I'm mostly here, but I just got the email that I made it in. So um, I might join the Discord and see what's up, but
Yeah.
um, it'd be curious to see how they run things and how that could be applied here, whether it be Racket Racket or something else. But um, yeah, all over the country and probably the world, there's similar things popping up. Even back in SF, we talked about the cabal, the tennis cabal, which had some issues regarding like reserving courts versus not reserving and like
Mm,
using them for too long, So
yeah.
it all comes back to what do people want to gather around or like have their like come together for, right? The common
Mhm.
interest. So
Yeah.
and how can you turn that into a social thing? So it is kind of a interesting observation, like post COVID, of uh, people's desire for social interaction and being
Yeah.
together more.
Yeah, and Seattle, I mean, I grew up out here. Like this is like I was here in the 90s and then I lived out in LA and then I moved back in the last 10 years. I feel like there's a huge transplant community as well. So we see a lot of transplant come and they're like I just moved here. Like, I don't have any friends. And, like, more power to them because they come to one kind of intimidating tennis event by themselves and then they make friends. So when we first started hosting our monthly events, like no one knew each other, right? Like I was the glue that was like, hi, it was like social chair and like the ops chair, like planning everything, but making sure everyone was becoming friends. But if you go to one of our events now, like the vibe is so different because I think the majority of the people have been there before. Some people are new. The people that have been there are bringing in new people, and just it feels like so different because everyone feels so much more comfortable, both in kind of like our concept and also like bringing new people into the club. I don't know if we'd ever go into the like mission style, like gating it, because I think for us, it's been really important to keep it accessible for everyone that wants to learn or wants to play. I don't know if we can scale that, right? That's probably why they're so organized out there in SF, because that's how you have to scale it. But yeah, it's one of the coolest things I think as a organizer to see is like people just hanging out after the time's over and they're exchanging numbers, or like you see somebody, like I saw somebody at FIFA like World Cup, and they were like, "Hey, I play so much more tennis now," or just like people trading numbers or exchanging WhatsApps. And I think that's just cool to see because they're becoming friends and they're building their own community outside of us, which I think is one of the biggest wins. So,
Yeah, definitely very needed and wanted in Seattle. Um,
yeah, trying to bust that like Seattle freeze
yeah,
idea that people talk about, which I don't know if it exists, but I'm not a transplant, so I don't know.
yeah. Well, you kind of touched on this, but from the conversations you've had with participants, what has the community response been like? And have you gotten any feedback, or what have people been telling you about how things have been going lately?
Yeah, I think our feedback for the most part's been really positive. I don't think we've done formal feedbacks, which we'll probably do after this season closes, just to like how do we do it better. But overall, the community is so happy that we exist because there's like the words I hear always, like I've always wanted to play tennis. I didn't know where to start. I saw your post on TikTok, right? I found you on Instagram, or communities members like you and like our organizers will be telling other friends, and they come and they support, and we just keep growing. So it's been overall really positive, because people don't know where to start with the sport. They're probably seeing it more because of the marketing that tennis has been doing, right? But they don't know where to start. It's interesting to them. They think that the beginners clinic is a great way for them to do that, and they don't feel as intimidated. And then from like the community that already plays, I hear a lot of like, I used to play in high school. I didn't know where to start. Back up. Like I don't have a community. Or we have people that have played and are a part of they're pretty like strong in the Seattle community, and they'll be like, this is really cool. This doesn't exist. I love this. So it's been all really positive, and it is a lot of work. Even though we do it once a month, it's a lot of back end stuff people don't see, like the promotion, the building, the content creating, like the booking the courts, the making sure our sponsors pay for, like there's all this like admin stuff that has to happen. But like every time we get on the court every month, like that's the like sentiment we get from people that are there, and it just motivates us to be like, okay, cool, like this is working. We're providing like a really good value system, or like something that the community continues to want. So
Yeah, it sounds like the hard work is paying off, at least so far.
yeah.
And um, as far as the the way that the event goes, I feel like the people who are new to tennis, beginners, that's really where the most benefit is, because
Mhm.
I talk to a lot of people and they may be interested in tennis, but if they want to get started from nothing, their options are get a private coach, which could cost a lot of money, or try to get a class at AME, which is very hard to do.
Very
S
hard to do.
Yeah, so it's hard to
Extremely
just
hard.
get started completely on your own. Now, with Racket Racket, you're providing the training through the clinics, which are free. So I think that is a great way for people to get started. And then from there, they can start playing with other people and get better that way. But that's like, it makes it more accessible for people who don't have any experience at all.
Exactly. And they can see if they like it or not, or if they just want, they want additional lessons. We are a great resource to be able to find some more affordable or accessible ways for them to continue learning the sport. And I know like for a fact like the USTA wants to increase it to like X amount of people in the next 10 years or something. So I think it's important that they also play a role in some of this too. Like, how do we make the sport accessible? Because I I belong to an athletic club that like also has the same problem as if I'm trying to be out in the wild trying to get lessons. Like it's nearly impossible to get beginners classes across any sort of medium, you know? So I love that we're able to offer this and people seem to really like it. So I don't know if Glenn is listening, but huge shout out to Glenn because he really is kind of like our head coach and leads that arm of Racquet Racket.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot more coaching myself lately, especially with kids, and I have a greater appreciation of what it's like to teach beginners because you have to really dumb things down, a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
If they don't hit it right, which they're not going to, right? It's not an overnight improvement kind of thing. You have to just be encouraging and be positive and have them try again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It is, you know, I see it in adults because I took a ton of group classes and you'll see like the beginning of like a 4-week program or 6-week program, half of the participants don't come back. Like because it is like so hard and you do have to be really patient because it's a very technical sport. Unlike, you know, not to hate on pickleball, but like a pickleball you can pick up in an afternoon, you know, or like 10 minutes. And you get more satisfaction maybe because there's more like rallying in pickle, but like tennis is more technical. So you have to learn all those kind of like 5, 8 things and start practicing those things before you can really kind of like get out there and hit a ball around with somebody else. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much to appreciate about tennis, and even if you're not really into learning the all the technical things about it, like you said earlier, the lifestyle aspect of it is so
huge,
fun, and like
so fun.
people can just be into that and nothing else. So
So fun.
yeah,
100%. I just think a tennis like lifestyle and culture and like the outfits and like what they've been doing, all the like marketing activations that happen around the Grand Slams, all the like storylines, you know, that come up, like the new age of tennis, like with Sinner and Alcaraz and just all of that is so exciting. And I think it's it's like the funnest sport right now to follow, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, looking ahead, um, for Racket Racket, the way it's been going has been um, pretty consistent over the months because you meet
Hmm.
once a month. But what's next for Racket Racket, and do you foresee any changes in the future, or like is it going to evolve in any way?
Yeah, we're hoping so. But, you know, I think we just need to take a beat because I think it expanded like quite quickly and we made changes really quickly. We started last June. It was just me. We did a couple months with just me. Now we have a organization, like other organizers on the team, um, to help us build Beginners Clinic out, you know, and also, you know, we have additional courts now. So this year has been focused on consistency, so every last Sunday of every month until September, we are at Lower Woodland from 9 to 12. You know, we're just trying to like build the community, build the consistency. So after September, we're going to kind of go into our indoor court season, we call it. So, meaning we've had a difficult time trying to play outdoors when the weather gets a little nutty here. I think, David, I don't know. I think you came in like, was it January or February when it was like so cold
It
out?
was either November or
Was it
December,
November?
and yeah, we met at the cafe because it was raining.
Yes, that's right. That's how we met. And then you came, I think, one of the months where it was really cold, maybe. And we played. And so, though that's fun, I think we're like getting bigger and we're trying to figure out what our indoor game is going to be or like our strategy for indoor quote unquote season. And then we're probably not going to be every month, but if the weather is good, we'll probably book courts and just let people know this is what's happening. So it's going to be more probably at an ad hoc level. But that also gives us time to start building for next year. So one of the things that I was talking to the coaches about is potentially expanding Beginners Clinic for a different part of the calendar, potentially like just having a time period where it's just 4 courts, 4 coaches, beginners clinic, like expanding that piece, because I do think that is one of the big values, and then continuing to do our drop-ins for everybody else so that the community can meet. One thing we do want to start doing maybe next year is kind of like a tennis fan arm of Racquet Racket. So like getting people together to watch tennis matches, or like doing something where we're enjoying being tennis fans, but all together. Cause sometimes it's, it's hard to be like, hey, can you can you turn that channel to Wimbledon? Because someone might not. But getting us all together and really appreciating it as a fan would be kind of like the next thing we're starting to think about. But in order for us to expand, we have to like really nail down like our sponsorships, our kind of back end stuff, reaching out to marketing teams to support some of the things that we're doing. So we're going to spend that. Once September is done, the last event in September outdoor is done, we're going to kind of put our heads down through the indoor season and come up with a game plan for how we want to grow for next year.
Nice. That's very exciting. Excited to be part of that and see what's coming up. I know for me, I'll watch matches I care about, like finals. I didn't watch the Wimbledon final this year though because I didn't care about
Nobody
Zverev
cared.
Sinner.
Nobody cared.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it
Sometimes,
either.
yeah, but like right now, like there's the DC Open, right? And
Yeah.
Alex Ayala has been playing, and she played Chinwen, and then she
Oh,
played Fernandez today. So I watched those in the morning. Uh, but yeah, it's always more fun to watch with someone else and give commentary, yell at the TV.
yeah. Or just like introduce people to like tennis that maybe in a different way, right? So maybe people are interested in watching and learning about tennis, but they don't want to learn how to play it. I just think that tennis is so robust as a sport. There's a lot of opportunities for people to like come into the sport.
Right. So that's all well and good. Um, I didn't prepare you for this, but like another tradition for us is because we are called questionable calls, we
Hmm.
usually have a questionable call of the episode. So do you
Boy,
have any hot takes about tennis that you'd like to share with us?
oh my gosh. I don't, I'm not prepared. So like a hot take on like anything in tennis?
Yeah, it could be the rules, it could be something you've noticed, could be like in the pro world, something that people
Oh,
might disagree with.
okay. I don't think it's a hot take, but it's something that really drives me crazy. That whole rule where if you hit the ball and then it like grazes the net, but it falls over, but you have to apologize that it went over.
Yes, I think
What
we,
is
we
that
did.
called? Did you
Um,
guys have that? I think
we
it's
did
so
talk
dumb.
about it, but yeah, I also agree that I mean it's not a rule that you have to apologize, but it is expected, and people get mad if you don't.
See, so it technically is a rule, like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, like
a
a social
what is it?
norm.
A social norm,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a decorum. Like I just think it's kind of silly.
yeah. If Rishi were here, if he was, yeah. Anyway, if he was here, he would disagree because he thinks it's right to acknowledge and to say sorry. But I'm I'm saying like if the ball had like if you had shanked the ball or like yeah, if you shanked it and it went in or whatever, like that's kind of your fault, right? Because you initiated the stroke and then that's how the ball landed.
Yeah,
You didn't necessarily do it on purpose, but it was still on you. However, if you hit the net and it goes over, that's completely luck. You don't plan for that.
sure.
And like it's kind of like an external factor, like the wind. So
True.
why should I
True.
apologize, right? Like it just happened and it happened to work in my favor, but like if I'm apologizing, it's because something that I did, I was at fault, but I was not in this case, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess my take on it is that tennis you score on the other opponent's error.
Well,
So,
or you hit
well,
a
or
winner,
like
right?
or you hit a winner, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, a lot of the sport is kind of like, sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's like my take on it.
try to get through an entire tennis session without saying the word sorry once.
Sorry, I know. Because tennis in general is already like a very respectful sport. So it feels like unnecessary to me. And I just think it's one of those kind of old age decorum, things that if you're starting out, you don't know, right? And so unless you're like deep learning about the rules and things, it's very intimidating and very you don't know, you know. I luckily knew when I played earlier to do that because of the whole the conversation that was around this. I think it was with I forget who it was. I forget what the match was. I can't think of it now, but there was a whole controversy around it.
Might have been Ostapenko,
Yes,
but
that's right.
yeah.
Yes, Ostapenko. That whole conversation. So I was like, "Ooh, I got to do that."
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah, for that, like, usually if it happens to me, then I will acknowledge it, but I won't
yeah,
necessarily say sorry because I'm just doing that out of empathy, right? I know how it feels to be on the receiving end of that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, that's why I'm acknowledging it. But I find that when I play, I almost like my goal is have fun and like hit good shots, and I want them to hit good shots too.
yeah,
So like,
yeah.
if it was almost a good shot, but then it failed, then I'm like, oh, that's too bad, you know, or like,
Oh,
nice shot or whatever. So yeah, in a sense, like I am playing to win, but I also want to see some good tennis. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it was just the league I was in, man. The 2.5 women's league. They were real serious.
it's like, you know, Tim Duncan, the former NBA player, like
Hmm.
he was known for like giving tips to his opponents and stuff.
Yeah. He he was wonderful. Yeah, he
Yeah,
would.
I think he like got a technical foul once by the ref or something. But
I'm sure. I'm sure.
yeah,
No,
like, I can't really do that in
great.
tennis, but like that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's a hot take, but that's kind of like, that's, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's one of the more unique things about tennis.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um, Okay, well, that is all we have for today. Thanks so much, Chan, for joining us. Would you like to let people know where they can find you and Racket online?
Yes. You can find our club on Racquet Racket Club on IG. And then you can also find like my personal Racket on TikTok. So, yeah.
Yeah, to be clear, it's spelled Racket with a Q for the first
Yes.
one, and then Racket with a K for the second one.
There's a little play on words there for you.
Yes, it's very clever
Yes.
because
It's
people
very
spell it
clever.
both ways.
Yes. So, but you should be able to find us even if you just do like hashtag Seattle Tennis. You'll find us. And then our upcoming events, our two remaining events are at the end of August. I should have these dates ready for you.
Yes, looks like
But
August 30th
August,
and September 27th.
yes, that's correct. And we play at Lower Woodland, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you're dropping in, just come down, bring your racket and play, or we have rackets, or you can bring a friend, or however it is. You can just come as you are.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't been before, highly encourage you to check it out. Even if you don't like it, just to see what it's like.
Yeah,
Um,
and you could tell me you don't like it. I'm happy to get that feedback.
yeah, but I think people usually have a good time.
Yeah, we usually have a good time. So,
Yeah, and then you can find us at questionable.pod on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of clips of myself playing and different funny memes and stuff. So we're still active there, even though we haven't been as active here. But we'll be posting a lot more, and I have some other interviews lined up. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in this time, and talk to you in the future.